To be spied on without knowing it like this. His ears grew red. The damned scoundrel! The thing was too absurd to pay attention to, and instantly his highly sophisticated consciousness began to pay attention. How many visits had he made to this distressed flower girl? 3, and all because he didn't like handing over the case to that society, which always found out the worst. They said private charity was dangerous. Apparently it was. Blackmail. A consideration came perching like a crow on the branches of his mind. Why hadn't he mentioned the flower girl to his wife and made her do the visiting? Why? Because Olga would have said the girl was a fraud, and perhaps she was. A put-up job. Would the scoundrel have ventured on this threat at all if the girl were not behind him? She might support him with lies. His wife might believe them. She had such a vein of cynicism. How sordid, how domestically unpleasant. Granta felt quite sick. Every decent human value seemed suddenly in question, and a second crow came croaking. Could one leave a scoundrel like this to play his tricks with impunity? Oughtn't one to go to the police? He stood extraordinarily still. A dappled leaf dropped from a plane tree and lodged on his bowler hat. At the other end of him a little dog mistook him for a lamp-post. This was no joke. For a man with a reputation for humanity, integrity and common sense, no joke at all. A police court meant the prosecution of a fellow creature, getting him perhaps a year's imprisonment, when one had always felt that punishment practically never fitted crime. Staring at the river, he seemed to see cruelty hovering over himself, his wife, society, the flower girl, even over that scoundrel. Naked cruelty waiting to pounce on one and all. Whichever way one turned, the thing was dirty, cruel. No wonder blackmail was accounted such a heinous crime. No other human act was so cold-blooded, spider-like, and slimy. None plunged so deadly a dagger into the bowels of compassion, so eviscerated humanity, so murdered faith. And it would have been worse if his conscience had not been clear. But was it so extremely clear? Would he have taken the trouble to go to that flower girl's dwelling, not once but 3 times, unless she had been attractive, unless her dark brown eyes had been pretty, and her common voice so soft? Would he have visited the blousy old flower woman at the other corner, in circumstances no doubt just as strenuous? His honesty answered no. But his sense of justice added that, if he did like a pretty face, he was not vicious. He was fastidious, and detested subterfuge. But then Olga was so cynical. She would certainly ask him why he hadn't visited the old flower woman as well, and the lame man who sold matches, and all the other stray unfortunates of the neighbourhood. Well, there it was, and a bold course always the best. But what was the bold course? To go to the police? To his wife? To that girl and find out if she were in this camp? To wait till 6 o'clock, meet the ruffian and shake the teeth out of him? Granta could not decide. All seemed equally bold, would do equally well. And a 5th course presented itself which seemed even bolder. Ignore the thing. The tide had just turned and the full waters below him were in suspense of a sunlit soft grey colour. This stillness of the river restored to Charles Granta something of the impersonal mood in which he had crossed the embankment to look at it. Here, by the mother stream of this great town, was he, tall, strong, well-fed, and if not rich, quite comfortable. And here too were hundreds of thousands, like that needy flower girl and this shadowy scoundrel, skating on the edge of destitution. And here this water was, to him, a source of aesthetic enjoyment, to them a possible last refuge. The girl had talked of it, beggar's patter perhaps like the blackmailer's words. I'm desperate, I'm down and out. One wanted to be just, if he had known all about them. But there it was, he knew nothing. I can't believe she's such an ungrateful little wretch, he thought. I'll go back and see.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.